or something. It's strange, but
it does feel like we're going in
yeah,
the same spot.
It really does. I've never experienced anything like this, so but we'll be all right. We've had to spend the night here, won't we?
No, I'm not staying the night. We're going to keep hiking dark and lighter dark.
There's that bear again. You can see the toes right there. That's a good one. He's going along. Oh, he went this way. He went that way. Hardly any traffic on the road whatsoever. We're passing the turnoff to Bodie. Do you think Bodie is still open or is it closed for the season?
Sure it's closed.
Yeah, it's December. Coming into Bridgeport, and like I've said, there's hardly any traffic, so I don't think Renee's shop is probably open. She's probably closed for the season, I imagine. If she's open, we'll see her truck, and I don't see her truck, so she's not here today. But it is December. Look at that, there's hardly anybody out. Want to pull up the general store? That would be a good place, yeah.
It's open.
Yeah. We're stopping in the general store to get something real quick. And I can see my friend Jason is here. Jason's busy working, so we're not going to bug him right now. Now we're heading outside of Bridgeport after Kelly got some coffee and I got a healthy donut. And we're only going to go about 4.5 miles to get to Buckeye Road. Yeah, 6 miles to Buckeye Campground. We're not going that far, but this is the right road. So you want to go straight up that. Okay. If you go to the left, that'll take you to the Day Ranch. You don't want to go that way. You want to go to the right like you're going to Buckeye Creek. Well, there's some snow up there by Twin Lakes. It's not a lot, but it is the first significant amount of the season. So after the turnoff to the Day Ranch, you go to the right, and it's just a mile more. There's kind of a sharp bend in the road, and that's where we're going to park. So we just come down into where it turns to the left, basically at the apex of the turn. And that's where this little creek comes through here. And of course, the Day Ranch is just downstream from it, so that makes sense. Have to make sure we're not blocking the road. So that's Day Creek right in there. Okay, it's right in here. We'll have to pull off somewhere. We're just starting out, and this is road 32076. And it looks pretty much like a Jeep road. So if you have a good off-road four-wheeler, you could easily make this, but we're just gonna walk this because this is a little bit too rugged for Kelly's car. It's definitely like a four-wheel drive little road, like for a Jeep or a high clearance four-wheel drive. I see some homes in those dead snags. A lot of birds need those dead trees to nest in. I see some nest holes. That tree's got 4 holes in it. Kelly, what were you saying about being a bird?
I said, wouldn't it be fun to be a bird just for a short period of time and check out one of their little homes?
Yeah. I thought that ice formation was very interesting, how it's going from the little part of like a dam, like a pond, and then it's going underneath that tree. It's like a curtain of ice. The road we're on continues right alongside the creek to the right. We're gonna keep following that up. All kinds of whimsical and interesting ice formations along the creek. So there are fish in this creek, and that's one of the reasons why they preserved this area, is because of the fish that's in this watershed. Apparently, some of the native fish that lives in the creek, they're using to restock some of the other creeks that need the original wild fish in them. This Buckeye Creek is an ecological preserve, California Fish and Game Commission. It was purchased in 1986. It's got 3/4 of a mile of stream bank. It's a 460-acre preserve with sensitive fish species. The preserve is located in the Inland Deserts Region 6, and in this area are found the mule deer, the mountain lion, black bear, the porcupine, the blue grouse, and the mountain quail. Now, the mountain quail has a little top knot that goes straight up.
Oh, Douglas, he's interested in this tree and all this chopped up wood. He's just inspecting it.
It fell.
Oh, it fell down.
The root of this big pine tree is up on the hill, and it fell over and blocked the road, so they tried to cut it out, which is what they did. Big one, I think. You can see the size of it. You can see where it tumbled down, and it looked like it broke right there in the creek, and then it crossed over the road. Seems to be getting icier and icier. This one frozen section is interesting. It's all this ice on the top, and it's almost like it's a step or a ledge. Really interesting. The water's underneath that ice. It sounds like there's a deep hole in there that the water's going into. Look how the ice formed around that log. It's going down in there in a hole that you can hear the noise it's making. Look how deep the bark plates are on this big pine tree. It's a steep, rough, rocky road, perfect for four-wheel drive vehicles. I bet this is very popular in the summertime. We can see Bridgeport through the trees. We've come to a point where it's its first switchback, and it veers off from the creek bed a little bit. But that's okay. We're gonna keep on going and see what we can find for everybody. There's a good view of Bridgeport. It's kind of a overcast gray day, so the lighting isn't that good, but it's just the weather. Winter's definitely back, that's for sure. That's the sun right there. We're making our way along this ridge. above the creek. Here's a sign denoting the border of the wildlife preserve, Department of Fish and Wildlife. As you know, 460 acres is not even a section. A section is 640 square acres. That's a square mile. So it's not really that big, but it's surrounded by a lot of open country. So it's very much secluded, especially in the wintertime. There's been some work done in here. If you look closely at the trees on the lower trunks, they've been trimmed. See all the little stubs where the branches were? They had a crew up here. It's almost like a manicured wilderness. I don't know how to describe what I'm thinking about it, but they're managing it. They've got a reason they're doing that. I see some areas where they've bark mulched it, or chipped it, I should say, used a wood chipper. If you look on the ground right there, that's the wood chip pile. And you can see where the trees have been trimmed. I think Kelly was saying it's something like ladder fuel or something they want to keep the fire hazard down, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
They've been cut right there. That sure looks like it could be a younger bobcat track. We're coming up to a gate. It says no motor vehicles. Here's another boundary sign. Buckeye Creek Ecological Preserve. Maybe it's a fisher or a pine marten. I imagine there's some rare trout that are located in this stream, this little creek. And they're protected. Unlike breeding stock to replenish a lot of the other little creeks. That's great, they've protected this. I don't see any. They're probably in the deepest parts. Love how the ice makes those patterns. These are all trimmed also along the trunk. I'm glad that Kelly and I are kind of chit-chatting because this is a quiet time of year and we don't want to run across any of the bigger animals today.
Like a bear.
Yeah. Kelly was saying the bears probably aren't into hibernation quite yet because the snow cover isn't that deep. But doesn't seem to be much unless they roll over some big rotten logs and find some grubs or something. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot to find this time of year. But we've been checking the snow to make sure we don't see any bear tracks close. She's got her bear spray with her, but it might take a little bit too long to get that bear spray deployed, so we'll have to yell at them. We haven't seen any bears all season this year. I think part of it is that Kelly and I have a habit of just having a nice conversation as we're going along. And that's good because it gives things like bears a little bit of a heads up. They can hear us coming. And so they're probably already at the top of the hill somewhere, hiding behind a snag or a bush. They can probably see us, but we don't see them. And I like it that way. Especially after last summer when that bear got 8 feet away from me. I said, I never want to have that happen ever again. It was unnerving. And that was in Nevada, it wasn't in California.
Yeah.
Here's another whimsical, interesting part of this little creek. Just love that where it's frozen like that. Of course, it's thawed out underneath the ice sheet. Little river bend as it gurgles through. I actually think that's on the other side. That's north of Buckeye Hot Springs. Well, the road is all covered in snow, and we're entertaining ourselves with looking at all the animal tracks. We've seen some deer tracks, big mule deer tracks in here. So these tracks, they look a lot bigger than what actually came through here. What it is, it's a deer, and you can see the two marks where the hooves were. And then the sun came out and melted it a little bit, and that's why it looks a lot bigger. I see some writing on this tree. It looks like something like Mariano, Peru or something. But the Basque sheep herders are known for doing a lot of that writing around here. For those of you not from the Great Basin or Nevada or Eastern California, the areas that have a lot of Basque people, the Basque people have traditionally been our sheep herders in these areas. Of course, we're talking about the Basque, the same country that's right near Spain, and they have their own culture and language, and they are known as sheep herders. They're still sheep herders today, and this area is known for grazing sheep. I even have a clip that I took earlier this year in the summertime, and I was riding my bike on the other side over here, more towards Buckeye Creek, and there was some dogs there guarding the sheep, and I can only film for a short time because the one dog was going to take after him. He was a big Great Pyrenees. I'm like, okay, time to go. I'll share that video with you here. There's the sheepdog doing his job. So Kelly, didn't you used to have a Great Pyrenees herd dog at one time?
Yes, I did, not too long ago.
Yeah, they're pretty nice, but that one dog that was guarding the sheep, he was strictly business. And I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there was another one, a lighter boned dog that was real quick. And the two of them had made up their mind to come down and meet me and make a statement on that little gravel road. So the only reason I didn't get more footage, I swear, I was riding that bicycle as fast as I could to get by him. And I waited till about the last minute. And they got pretty close, just doing their job. You don't see that often too much these days where there's an actual working dog that's working, you know.
That's true.
Hoping everybody can see this, but I am certain that that is a bear track. There it is right there. See the little, you can see the toes. I can see the toes, where the toes were. And see how they kind of walk pigeon-toed? That is a bear track right there. Yeah, I used to know somebody he was a cattleman, but they had some dairy goats around the home place, you know. And they had one of those Great Pyrenees, and he lived outside all the time, even the winter, everything. And he protected the little flock of the dairy goats they had. And so he was kind of half wild. You could pet him, but Kelly found these bear prints a little bit farther up. You can see them right there. They kind of got mixed in. I walked past it. I was busy doing something else. There's another one. Fairly recent. So we could see a bear up here. That's a really good print of that bear. You can see the size of it. It's not a very large bear, but it is a bear. Well, we better keep chit-chattering so we don't come up on it. You never know what they're gonna do. Let's follow his tracks a little bit. There he is again, going along, just meandering along. It's interesting too with these black bears because sometimes they're black, almost like a purple black. They're so black, like a jet black, and then sometimes they're like a light cinnamon, and other times they kind of look like the same, like what I call more like a grizzly bear color. And so different shades of brown and black. Personally, I like the black colored ones. Those look really neat. Let's take a look at the length of my knife, which measures 4.5 inches long. It's painted yellow in case I drop it in the woods or the grass, I can find it. And that will give us a good idea on the size of that bear paw print. This is such a good one. I'm going to take the time to measure it. That's my knife. When I get home, I'll measure that, get an idea. There's that way. Whoop, slipping with the snow. So that's about right there. It's about two of those knives long and a little bit more than that wide. So usually when Kelly and I are hiking together, she's the first one that spots the eagle or spots some kind of deer or something. So if anyone's gonna spot that bear, if the bear's close, it'll be Kelly. So my plan is just to look down at my feet in the snow and live in my life of denial. And I'm just gonna pretend that I didn't see those tracks. But she'll notice it right away. Look at this where it opens up to that hillside. Too bad it's an overcast day. Probably see a lot from up there. We found an old, looks like an old, maybe a woodcutter's road or a logging road. It's all overgrown, but at least it's something. Kind of reminds me of when you're going hunting, when, at least for me, I'm usually always half lost anyway. And that's how we are right now. We're half lost. We're not officially lost yet. Do you like living on the edge, Kelly, with your friend Doug Berry?
Yeah, I sure do.
We're just on that edge of the unknown. I got off track a little bit. We had to make a sharp left to head south. We're gonna head over this ridge. One thing good about today, we don't have to worry about snakes. It's too cold for them. Kelly, I can see where we're at, where those Sawtooth Mountains are right there. And then there's that hill. That's the road going into Twin Lakes.
Okay.
So that's where we're at, and we're heading over up this hill. Oh, it's a steep one. That's why we're taking a break. We're winded. Pretty out here though. It's actually a pretty good day for a hike. Not
It's
bad.
very good.
Yeah. We're not seeing that fantastic blue sky like we usually see out here today, but
Well, it's not that cold.
ancient that mountain mahogany is. It's about what, 10 feet tall, something like that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
at least.
Bet that's seen some storms. We're not too far from Buckeye. I'm not really sure where this Log Cabin Creek is. I've actually never been into the Log Cabin Creek Valley, so I think it's that way. Let's try. It's actually a really nice day for a hike. It's not windy and it's not hot.
It's not that cold.
It's actually pretty nice. It's just not as pretty as it would be if it was a clear day, but it's still nice. We're making our way down the side of the hill. It's a little bit brushy, it's a little bit slow going. So we ended up hiking 10.5 miles, so we're hungry now. That was pretty funny. Unfortunately, the chicken got left at home. And then unfortunately up on the mountaintop, we went around twice. Kellie's like, that lady's footprint is just the same size as mine. Oh well, it was still fun though. Well, at least I'm not too proud to say that I got us turned around. But next time, definitely we need to start doing some winter camping or hiking and snowshoeing and everything. I'm gonna bring my compass. I'll bring 2 compasses. I'll bring a regular compass and another one. Yeah, we won't have that happen again. But that was odd, wasn't it? It was just like the Bermuda Triangle, because we thought we were heading the right way, and then it just came all the way around.
Yeah,
that was strange.
We ended up back in the same spot.
Yeah. Oh well, it happens to the best of us. So. Okay, everybody. Here's this week's cookie clip. She made quite a few of them. Here's this one type that has lots of candies in it. Here's another type that has lots of chocolate and chocolate chips. And this is my favorite. And this is like a pecan praline. Pecan's my favorite, and she made my favorite. So these are really good this week, pecans. There's a little Stellar's Jay. He's wise to this picnic table. He's so fat. Here we are at the Upper Hot Springs. Not very many people here today. It's the time of year it is. This is our reward for our hike today. We're just warming up our feet. It's snow up in the mountain. Oh, this warm, hot water feels so good in this nice hot springs after that long 11-mile hike. Well, he sure is interesting. Look how big he is. I found this retro pull tab from years back, which I'm going to throw away. But you can see how big he is compared to that pull tab. And he's still alive. He'll move. I found this big piece of obsidian shard too. There he goes. Huh. Man, that thing is big. Wasn't that so strange, Kellie? It was like the Twilight Zone up there, wasn't it?
Yes,
I mean, it's not just me.
Yeah, it was. I thought it too. Same thing.
Yeah, because it's like we were headed in a straight line, and how did we get all the way around a mountain like that? That's crazy.